Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the show. It's episode 336. It's October 4th, 2022. We're just marching right into the wrestling season. I'm joined once again by Kyle Klingman from Cedar City, Iowa. Kyle, how's everything up in your neck of the woods?
It's great. You were here last week, and the community hasn't recovered. They were so excited to have you here that they put a lock of your hair in our museum.
Yeah, well, I have plenty left, so glad to hear that. And I'll come visit it next time I'm in town. But until then, let's bring on our guest. I'm excited about this. He was a Big Ten champion last year, NCAA All-American. It's Austin Gomez from Wisconsin now. Let's bring him on. Austin, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. And if I remember correctly, I think the last time you were on the show, you I don't know if you'd announced it before, or if you kind of announced it here, but you retired, right? And that was
I think it was like a couple days after I announced that I was done with the sport. So,
take me through. I guess you know it was concussions, right? You had knocked your head, and so you think you're done, and I think you were going to move on to coaching. Kind of catch us up to that from that point till, hey, I'm good, and maybe I will compete. At some point, did you get back on the mat, whether it's coaching or at some point you did, and at some point you thought, I feel good. Let's get back to it. Just kind of walk me through that progression from thinking the physical aspect of it, finding out your head's right, and then we can talk about the emotional or psychological part of it.
Yeah. So when I first announced my decision to be done, it was hard on me, but I knew that it was kind of I was looking out for my best interest and my health and stuff like that. And, I didn't do anything from when I retired in, was it probably mid-October, early November, all the way until probably March. I didn't do anything. I went in the room over when I was still at Iowa State and, helped those guys out as much as I could and be a good influence on them. And, I wasn't working out, wasn't running, wasn't doing anything, just because I was already done. I was like, I just want to finish school because I was graduating and, we're just going to move on and, get into coaching. And then, right after NCAAs, I just had this feeling that, I first had a conversation with my dad. I was like, Dad, I think I want to come back. And funny, my mom was like, I knew this was going to happen. Everyone around me was like, we saw this coming from a mile away. And I even had a talk with Metcalf when I announced that I was coming back. He called me and he's like, I knew this was going to happen. I was like, he's like, you love this sport way too much. And, you're too good at it to give up that easily. But first I had to make sure that I was healthy enough to come back. So I called the concussion doctors, talked to the doctors at Iowa State, and they ultimately decided, you can come back. The concussion doctor out in Pittsburgh, he's like, you just got to be smart. You're going to have to train differently. You can't be banging every day like you're used to. And, the doctors at Iowa State basically said, you can come back. It's just, we're just not going to let you come back here. So right there, I knew that I was going to transfer, but I think I already knew that, I needed a new scenery, different set of hands on me, just different styles of coaching. So when I announced I was coming back, my little sister Alexis, who's over at Grandview, which from door to door, Grandview, where her house that she was living in and where I was living in Ames, we were 30 minutes apart, door to door. So once I started getting back in better shape and was running again, started lifting again, I didn't have any headaches or anything like that. Everything was fine. I would go over to Des Moines over in Grandview and wrestle with my sister probably 2-3 days a week, just on our own. And then, once I started getting back in better shape, wrestling with her, I started going to the Grandview practices they're having outside of the season, kind of like their off-season workouts. Mm-hmm. I started feeling really good. It's like I almost didn't forget how to wrestle because I didn't wrestle for almost 6 months. Sure. Wasn't doing anything like that. And, I've been doing it for so long. I was like, wow, I think I still got it. So, yeah, that was a whole decision process. And then, I entered the portal in probably early April, I think. So,
Uh-huh.
and the rest is history.
Sure. Funny that everybody, your parents, Metcalf, everybody, I saw this coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
Did you not? Sometimes you're so close that, and especially to you, like when you retired, you legitimately thought you were done. Is that right?
Yeah, I
At the
thought I was
time?
done. I just was so over the sport of wrestling. I
Was it a,
think it was me trying to cut down, to 133. It's not that anybody made me try to make 133. I wanted to do it because I knew it was best for our lineup, but it probably wasn't the best for me. But I'm just so hard headed like that, where I think about the team's interest and before myself, because I want the team to do well. Because I'd rather the team win a national title before I win a national title.
Wow.
That's just my way of thinking about things. So, and I knew me at 133 was going to be the best option for me. But, it was taxing on my body, and that's when all the concussions started happening. And, I just wasn't happy anymore with just the cut and weight and, working out 3 times a day, almost every single day, just to try to get my weight down.
Sure. And I think a lot of people have experienced um, weight cutting as like the demise of their love for the sport, right? It's great, wrestling's awesome, but when you add on not just making weight, but like cutting too much, right? Working out 3 times a
Yeah.
day, it's like this gray cloud just follows you from practice to class to home to driving by Pizza Hut and like
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
right? It's like everything is just like compounds. So it sounds like that was the biggest thing, and it's like, yeah, fine, I'll just be done. I don't care. Was it like after? I don't know, maybe I'm asking the same question, but was there like did the itch to come back creep and creep and creep, or was it just like one day like I want to come back?
No, I think it was it 2 years ago? I went to the Big 12 tournament when I was retired. And I was watching some of these guys, just the guys over at Iowa State do well. And, just everyone around the country, I was like, I'm seeing these guys win national titles and make the podium. I'm like, man, that should be me. I know I can do it. And I think that's when it first hit. And then I watched NCAAs. I didn't really watch too closely. I was actually in Las Vegas for my birthday, watching the national tournament, just getting away from it. I didn't want to
Sure.
be anywhere near it. And then, I'm seeing guys win national titles that I've beaten, and guys on the podium that I've beaten. And it was just like, man, I started getting this itch, but I didn't tell anybody that I was having this itch. I was keeping it to myself, and I was kind of just training on my own and just trying to get back into shape. And then when I felt good enough and had enough courage to finally call my dad and tell him, that's when I finally made a decision.
It's funny you said I went to Vegas for my birthday. I didn't want to be anywhere near nationals. Yet you were probably glued to it on TV, right? Which tells me your
I,
love, right?
I actually wasn't.
Okay.
My dad would tell me updates, and I'd just be like, yeah, whatever. I really don't care.
Uh huh.
And it was just one of those things. I'd watch like the guys at Iowa State just to see how they were doing, but I wasn't watching. I was just checking Twitter for updates and stuff like that. But that's about it.
Okay. Um, what was that conversation like with your dad?
He just wanted to make sure I was healthy.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure that I was okay to go. And so the first thing we did, he's like, you got to call the doctor right away. So that just shows how much he cares about my health, because that has to come first before anything else.
Of course. Yeah. Um, interesting. Okay. And then what's the well also is you know when you retire or yeah, when you retire it's like there's just a sense of less pressure. Like relief maybe to a degree and you can be a little bit more free. Your feelings free. But then do you feel like the break was almost a good thing? And it wasn't intentional, of course, but like did it reignite your passion?
Yeah, I think the break was great. I remember when Jake Herbert had that long layoff,
Mhm.
and then he came back and was smashing everybody.
Yeah.
So I think the break was good. It gave my body a rest, time to recover, and I'm not banging on my body every single day with the runs, the workouts, the lifting. I think it was just a refresh. So I think I just needed that reset button, and I hit it, and I came back better than ever.
Sure. Well, enter the portal. What's that experience like? Did you know kind of at the time you maybe wanted to go to Wisconsin, or was it like, man, everybody, whoever wants to talk to me, let's do it and let's have these conversations and figure it out?
Yeah, it was kind of just like whoever wanted me. I've always wanted to wrestle in the Big Ten. So when I actually entered the portal, John Reeder hit me up probably like 10 minutes later. But, I was looking at all my options, and, Oklahoma State had called me, Wyoming, Oklahoma. I'm probably forgetting a few, but, I wanted to weigh out every single option just because, they have to clear me. Their doctors have to clear me. And, I'm going to have to find a school that's going to let me wrestle.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin had everything I had. I can't thank Gross, Reeder, and Bono enough for giving me this opportunity to come here. I'm an hour and 45 minutes away from home, so I'm almost home all the time, almost every weekend. Seeing my family and stuff like that, getting home cooked meals. So that's kind of refreshing being here, and I couldn't be more thankful to be part of this university.
Sure. And I know your family's, your family's big and very important to you. And home cooked meals are great, and 133 is not for you, right? So when you were having these discussions with Reeder, and I'm sure eventually Bono and probably Gross, or maybe even the other schools, was there talk about weight class? Was there like, hey, I don't want to go 133? And did you have those discussions? And was there discussions about 41 or 49, or did those not happen until you said, hey, yeah, I want to go to Wisconsin, and got in the door, and then you started talking about weight classes?
Yeah, so when I first entered the portal, I put down 141. That's the weight I want to go. And when I got here, I was probably walking around in the summer, probably 65, 170. It wasn't good weight. It was kind of just like, I haven't worked out in really 6 months.
Right.
And, I wasn't really training that hard. I was probably only wrestling 2 days a week and running almost like every other day. I wasn't really doing that much. But when I got here, finally stepped on campus, it's probably like in between 160 and 165. And, I was still thinking I was going to go 141. And then Bono came up to me one day, and Reeder, they're like, hey, why don't you just go 149? And I was like, I didn't really think about it. I was like, man, I might be too small. They're like, no, you're not small. They're like, you're strong as hell. You're explosive. So let's keep that strength and that explosiveness and that power, and let's wrestle 149. I was like, all right, I'll let you know tomorrow. Let me talk to my dad. And my dad was like, dude, do whatever you want. This is your wrestling career. This is your journey. I'm going to support you 100%. And I was like, all right. So I made a decision. I'm like, yeah, so let's not cut any weight at all, really, and go 149. So made that decision right then and there. And, it was the best decision I made.
Yeah. That's got to be a good feeling when you make that decision, because, as we said before, cutting weight sucks, right? It'll suck the fun out of the sport. So it's probably like a relief, like, oh, wow, this is great. Was any part of you concerned, the concerns you had before, right? Coaches can say you're strong and explosive and you'll be fine, but until you get out on the mat and experience it for yourself, was there any doubt, like, two weights, am I going to be okay? Was there any doubt in your mind? And did you have to get out there and feel yourself at the weight to know that I'm fine here?
Yeah. I think there was a little bit of doubt, because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do, how big are these guys going to be, how strong they're going to be. And, that first duel, I was nervous because, this guy's probably cutting a lot more weight than I am. And, but when I first got out there and put my hands on a 49-pounder, I was like, oh, this isn't bad at all. I was like, because these guys at 49, they're a little bit slower, and I can move well. I rely on my speed a lot. So, when I put my hands on them, I was like, all right, this isn't going to be too bad.
Yeah. As the season progressed, did you grow in confidence of where you could stack up among the 49-pounders?
Oh yeah, definitely did. When I first even before I committed to Wisconsin, I was eligible to come here for the RTC workouts because I was within that whatever mile radius it is. I'd come up here 2-3 times a week and work out. And even before I was committed here, John Reeder would say, Austin Gomez, national champ. And, I think he believed it more than I did because I was just out here to wrestle and have fun again. But, as the season went on, I think I had that big win over Sherman right away. And I kind of smashed him. And I was like, that kind of made my confidence grew more because he's a returned All-American. So, what better way to start off your season than beating a returned All-American? And then, I beat Artelona. I lost a close one at Dean Heil, who is I think he was ranked like 8th or 9th at the time. I was like, man, I'm there. I'm right there. I lost him in overtime. And then, what really grew my confidence is that next week after I just lost to Heil, I beat Yaya Thomas, who was ranked 4th in the country at the time.
Sure.
And I was like, all right, I can really do this thing. Let's so I head was high, confidence was high. I was like, I'm gonna win a national. Plans to go win a national title this year, and I'm not gonna be happy unless I don't.
What talk to me about wrestling in the Big Ten, especially second semester. It's Big Ten duels, Friday, Sunday. Ranked guys. You got all these. I don't have to tell you how good the conference is. Week in and week out. Did you enjoy it? Was it overwhelming? Was it an awesome test? How what's it like wrestling on that grind of a schedule?
I loved it. I grew up wanting to wrestle in the Big Ten. You come to schools like Wisconsin and the Big Ten to wrestle tough schedules. You don't come here and back out of wrestling matches or you don't miss duels. You come here and wrestle every single match because that's what you signed here to do. I wanted to be tested because I knew the best guys in my weight most of the guys in the Big Ten are the best ones at my weight. So I was like, all right, I can get my hands on them now, and I'm going to get my hands on them at the Big Tens. And then, whatever it is at Nationals, I'm going to get my hands on them again. So I loved it. It only helped my wrestling. It didn't hurt it, but, it was grueling because you have to be ready for every single match in the Big Ten. You're not going to have really no slouch of guys. That's no disrespect to anybody, but it's just you're going to have to be ready every single match, and it's going to be a dogfight every single time. And I love every aspect of that.
Sure. You're kind of you can be a big move guy, right? You can throw, you can attack legs, you can defend, you can all the things. Do you visualize at matches ever? And if so, do you ever visualize like hitting big throws, or they just kind of come?
I definitely visualize hitting big throws. Right before the Big Ten semis against Lovett, I was sitting with my dad in the lobby. We were just talking. I was like, Dad, I'm going to go out there and pin this guy. I'm going to get him in double unders, and I'm going to go pin him. And he'll tell you the exact same thing because that's what I told him. I was like, I'm going to throw this guy in his head, and I'm going to pin him. And a couple hours later, I did exactly that. So I visualize a lot. I visualize, when I'm working out in the wrestling room, on the bike or on the treadmill, how am I going to get to my leg attacks? How am I going to get to my underhooks? How am I going to get to my throws and everything like that? So, I'm a big visual guy. Every time I do stance of motion, I'm visualizing the guy in front of me. So, I'm just like, screw it. Let's just go out there and do it.
So, like, in that semifinal, when you told your dad you're going to do it when you did it, is it like, are you like waiting for that the entire match? Are you just wrestling and hand fighting and you're going to get to that? Or are you like, force isn't the right word, but are you trying to get there?
Yeah, of course I'm always trying to get there. I'm good in that position. I'm really comfortable there. And I know a lot of guys aren't comfortable in that situation. Not a lot of guys are comfortable upper body. And, I'm going to put guys in uncomfortable situations and let's see how they react. And Lovett, for example, reacted the way I wanted him to react. I got my underhook and he started backing out right away. I forced kind of that like over and under throw situation, but I came right back up and his elbows were sticking way out. So I just got my double unders and just let it go. So, I don't really force a lot of those positions. I set him up really well with kind of my throw by single leg. And, if they react really well, they're almost going to be in a bad position every single time I come up, and I can go right there and get my double underhooks.
Do you remember talking to your dad right after or sometime after that match, being like, "I told you"?
Yeah, I like literally just started laughing to him. I was like, I told you I was gonna do it, and I did it. And Bono and Reed are like, I can't believe you did that. And I was like, I knew I was gonna do it. I told my dad this 2 hours ago before we even wrestled the match. I was like, I knew that this was gonna happen.
You know who Gordon Ryan is? Do you watch jiu-jitsu at all?
Yeah, yeah, I know who Gordon Ryan is.
You
Yeah.
know, he'll come to fight somebody. I don't know if it's very often. I'm not super plugged into jiu-jitsu, but I know that he has like taken a little envelope and like give it to the scores table or whatever they call it, and they go out there and grapple and get to the whatever lock and then come over to the pull out the cards. I said I was going to do that.
No, I'm not like that. I can't just go out there and predict things like that. But yeah, I don't know. That's funny though.
Yeah. So then you go on and you win a Big Ten title, which I saw that you got honored at the football game this week. I'm sure that was cool. But you win Big Tens and they raise your hand and you're standing there like, does anything? And of course we'll get to nationals, but like, is there any part of you that like looks back and like I was retired a year ago or a year and a half ago and two weights down and holy crap, here I am. Was there like ever like a sit back and take a deep breath? Or at that point, maybe it was like, hey, there's still, week and a half, there's another task.
No, yeah, there's definitely a lot of emotion. I was done with the sport. Last year at that time, I was done wrestling. I wasn't even thinking about wrestling. I didn't want to wrestle. I was falling out of love with it. And, I was just overwhelmed with emotions. I think I said in my interview, it's like a year ago, I was retired from the sport. I wasn't there. And socially just wasn't doing the right things. Wasn't taking care of my social life really well. And, just to see how far I've come from being retired to a Big Ten champ. Yeah, I don't think you can make up that story. Not a lot of people can do that. It takes a lot of grit and resiliency. So, it was crazy. But then, it was like, all right, now it's time to go win a national title.
Yeah. You didn't win a title, but you did All-American and looked really good in the process. How did you feel about you didn't achieve the goal, but we can still assess how you felt about the way you wrestled at nationals, and how did you feel about your performance when the dust had settled?
My performance, I think, was, I don't think I could have wrestled any better. I was hitting my attacks. I was being really stingy with my defense. I was getting the positions I wanted to be. I was happy with my performance. Happy, but I wasn't satisfied. I wanted more. Those matches to Indonian still eat at me to this day. They're the reminders that, I'm not there yet. There's still work to be done. But yeah, there's a lot of emotions, especially after that blood round match. It was like, wow, because when I was at 33, I made the blood round. I lost to DeSanto. So getting that kind of blood round thing off my back was big. But I was happy to where I am. I think it was after the third and fourth place match, Bono just gave me a hug and he's like, I'm so proud of you. He's just like, there's no one else that could have done this except for you. You should be proud of yourself. And I was. I was proud of myself, but I still wasn't satisfied because I didn't get what I wanted.
Yeah. And earlier in this interview, we talked about, I said, hey, do you think taking the 6 months off could have been good? And you said yes, but what you said was I let my body rest and I got to heal and it sounded like you're talking about the physical, but and since then I'm hearing maybe the mental break maybe was as important, if not more. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, the mental break was definitely important. Just taking my mind off wrestling and not having the stress of trying to manage your schoolwork, get your workouts done and get them done good. Make sure you're putting all your efforts into your workout. And that's hard when you're cutting a lot of weight because you're always just focused on your weight. All right, I need to lose X amount of pounds just so I can be 8 pounds over. So I think it was great for me. I let my mind reset and I was happy again the way that I was doing things.
Sure. as we we're creeping up on the competitive season for this college season. You got some big ones right out the gate, and I don't know if it's your first match, but I know you guys wrestled Cornell early. You got Sasso again at the AllStar. What excites you about this season?
Everything. Now I got a target on my back. You know, last year I don't think nobody really knew how I was going to do or how they're going to wrestle me, but I think everybody now has an idea of how to wrestle me. But I'm excited. Everyone's coming after me, but they can come after me, but I'm still chasing one guy right now, and I'm excited for the challenge. I love that guys want to beat me now. They're trying to figure out game plans on how to beat me. It just excites me because I'm a different wrestler than I was in March. Last season, I really didn't start training hard until I stepped on campus, which was in August. So August to March was really my hard training. But now I've had April all the way until November now to really hone down on my skills, and I'm a completely different wrestler. My wrestling has grown, so I'm excited to see where I am at the end of the year.
Yeah. And you said guys are chasing me. I'm chasing one guy. I assume you're talking about Yanni.
Yep, Yanni Doc Mahalis. That's the guy I want to beat, and I have the utmost confidence in myself that I can beat him.
Is he a guy that you might game plan for a little bit? I know a lot of guys are game planning for you. He's chasing number 4. He was just a world silver. I guess how do you approach physically and or mentally that match?
We wrestled in February last season, and my mindset was, just go out there and feel them. I've never felt them before. So it was kind of just like a feeling out process. And, I think I was a little bit timid to get to my leg attacks. And then once that second and third period came around, I was starting to get to them more. And I think the hard part is going to be finishing. I got to figure out how to finish on them. But I'm not going to hold anything back now. I'm not going to be timid in that first half of the match. I'm going to attack them right away and give them everything I have. So I'm excited for the challenge, and it's time to make history, because I don't think there's ever been somebody who's ever been stopped from their 4th title.
I'm not aware of anybody that won 3 and didn't then go on to win the 4th. So is that match at home or in Ithaca?
It's at Cornell this year.
Okay. And obviously, a crack early season, and then the big goal would be to crack them late. So that'll be interesting. Another one, right? I mentioned it, but the All-Star wrestling Sasso. First of all, what do you know about the history of the All-Star? It's had a layoff maybe your whole college career, so it kind of went away. But do you remember it prior to that? And I remember like the Brands brothers wrestling back in the day, but Dakin Taylor wrestled in it, and Stieber, all these guys a little bit more recently. Do you remember it growing up at all?
Oh yeah, I used to watch the AllStar Classic all the time. It's a really cool event. Just getting guys together that might not hit during the regular season from different conferences and such to, hit right now, first couple weeks of the season, and I think it's really exciting to see kind of where everybody's at. Obviously, everybody's not going to be at their peak performance in November, but I think that's the best part about it is that, I know that a lot of these guys are going to come in ready because there's a lot of stakes on the line. Just to say, hey, I got your number in November, and I'm going to do the same thing in March come time for the national tournament.
Yeah. And I guess to the target on your back, right? You beat Sasso at Nationals last year, if I'm correct. So now he is gunning for you. What do you think about another matchup with him? And is it harder to beat somebody at that high level multiple times in a row?
I'm excited for it. I think I'm up for the challenge to beat him 3 times in a row. I don't think he's ever lost to somebody 3 times in a row. I know that me and Yanni got his number last year twice. So, he's got to figure out how to beat me. I'm comfortable in my positions with him. I think a lot of guys, when they shoot on Sasso, they're scared to finish. They're a little hesitant to, get to their finish right away. But I think that's what made me successful against him twice last year was when I got to my leg attacks, I scored right away. I didn't let him try to sit that corner and get to his funky positions. So I think he's probably gonna have to try and figure out a different way to get to his best positions and try to beat me. So I'm excited to lay it on the line, and it's gonna be a fun matchup either way.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for the whole event. It's actually taking place in this building where I'm sitting right now, just out in a big open, not a warehouse, but kind of like a warehouse, and we'll set it up and make it look really cool. To the rest of the event, I don't know how much you pay attention to the other guys wrestling or what the other matchups are, but are there any other matchups that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my boy Hamidi wrestling Keegan O'Toole. I think that's going to be a great matchup. DJ is last year, he was an 18-year-old kid wrestling as a true freshman. He took 6th place at the national tournament. So that says a lot about him. And, from then until now, he's only matured and gotten so much better at wrestling. I'm excited for him this season. I'm excited for that matchup because I know what he can do. And he's going to cause a lot of problems for Keegan and these other guys at 165. And, DJ's going to be tested right away the first weekend in November against David Carr when we wrestle Iowa State down in Florida. So, I think he's up for the challenge, and, he's going to prove a lot of people wrong that he's gunning for a national title this year. So I'm really excited for that matchup.
I am too. And I think, like the wrestling nerds like myself and probably you and Klingman and whoever, that's like the match a lot of people are pointing to, like, man, that's the one I want to see. That's the clash of styles, the high-powered offense from both guys, just a lot of ability all around, and it's like, yeah, okay, that might be the one. I'm obviously there's an NCAA Finals rematch. Obviously the other 65 match is great between Monday and Carr, and we can go up and down the lineup, Kekheisen and Brooks, and a lot of great matches. But I'm definitely looking forward to that one at 165. And really, that kind of takes us down to the end of the line. What's your first competition?
We have a duel down in Jacksonville, Florida, which is Bono's hometown. That's where he's from.
Oh, cool.
So I think we're doing Chattanooga, Campbell, and then our last duel is against Iowa State. So we're wrestling them down in Jacksonville, November 5th. So we're really excited for that. We know Iowa State has a really good team this year, and so do we. So we're excited for that matchup. I know they're gunning for us, and we're gunning for them. I know a lot of those guys on that team. I'm friends with a lot of them, but when it comes time to step on that mat, it's we're coming for blood, and it's kill or be killed. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Is there, and I do understand the kill or be killed once the whistle blows, and maybe however long before you mentally get in the zone or whatever you want to call it. Will there be in the days or weeks or however leading up, will there be any mixed emotions, or it's like, nah, this is wrestling? And
no, it's wrestling. Yeah, to me, it's just wrestling. Those guys over at Iowa State, they're my friends. They were my teammates for 4 years. Most of those guys now are off the team, but there's still some of those guys that are still on that team that I was with. And it's all good feelings. But once we step on that mat, we're not going to be friends for 2 hours. Yeah. So and then hopefully once that's over, we can just push the feelings inside and be like, hey, we beat you or you beat us, and hey, there's no bad blood. Let's just get on with it. So, I hope the feeling's mutual, but I'm excited. I'm excited for that duel.
Sure. And just to circle back to one thing from earlier, we touched on it, but the ring ceremony, right? I think I saw it on social. I bet a lot of people did. You got honored at a football game. There's, I don't know, 50,000 people in the stadium. I don't know, more or less maybe. That must have been a good feeling. That must have felt good and cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. They first told me that I get a Big Ten ring, so we start designing it and stuff like that. I think we designed it back in May, and it's October now, so I didn't get that ring until Saturday. And they're like, it was like a week ago, they're like, hey, you're gonna get your Big Ten ring at the football game during one of the timeouts. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And you got it was packed, so you got how many ever people were in there standing up for you, cheering for you, you know, giving you praise and stuff like that. And then once I walked off the field, kind of went back to the stands and saw my coaches, my family, some of my teammates. You know, you got people coming up to you saying, "Good job, congratulations, you know, this is awesome." So it was an awesome feeling. You know, University of Wisconsin-Madison is a great university, and you know, I couldn't be more thankful to be a part of this great school.
And who's that? Is that the AD or I don't even? Who's the, there's a dude twice your size, and you're taller than I am. But let's just look. That guy's huge.
Chris McIntosh. That's the athletic director here over in Wisconsin. So
okay, yeah, large gentleman.
Yeah, he made me. I know I'm a small guy, but he made me look really small.
Yeah, he must be, I don't know, 6'6" or something. But cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're just down close to the end of the line, but we got Kyle Klingman patiently waiting here. We got a little game. And he think he's going to take over here and try to stump you. So get your thinking cap on.
All right.
Austin, it's our game called Sweat It Out. Hoping to make you sweat. 5 questions. Are you ready to play?
Let's do it.
Number 1, where are the Flow Sports headquarters located?
Austin, Texas.
You got it. Number 2, what former professional wrestler from Texas had a finishing move known as the Stunner?
Oh, wasn't that Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yep. Got it.
Noticing a trend here.
Well, we'll see if it continues. How many world teams did Chris Bono participate in on the originally scheduled date?
What?
I'm going to say 2.
Only 1.
Oh, I was off.
Was one of... Go ahead.
He made 3 world teams. 2001 was postponed because of 9/11. 2002 he didn't participate in because of a credible threat to the United States since it was in Iran. And then in 2005 it was the original date. So
made 3 teams. One time wrestled
made 3 teams.
Okay.
On the scheduled date. Number 4, who is the first wrestler you faced as a Wisconsin Badger?
Oh, kid from Buffalo. I know he's from Buffalo. I just can't remember his name. Yeah, I don't know his name.
I mean, we would give him half. He's right. It's from Buffalo. Yeah, John Arceri.
John Arceri. Yep, that's his name. Yep.
And final question, where is your sister Gabriella currently ranked in the recent pound-for-pound national high school rankings?
Number 5. Just looked at it this morning.
All right, that's right.
Nailed it. Awesome. Austin, where are you? Is that a field house behind you or something?
Yeah, I'm in Camp Randall Stadium right now. We just got done with a workout a little bit ago, but I'm in Seth Gross's office doing this. So
awesome. Do you wrestle with Gross or Bono or even Reader now that you're a little bigger?
You know, I asked Bono to wrestle me all the time, and he just won't do it. He's like, dude, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm like, all right, put it on the line then. But no, I wrestle with Gross quite often. You know, he gives me a really good feel. You know, I can't ask for a better workout partner than who's 5th in the world right now. So I wrestle him quite often, at least once or not twice a week. So.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, cool. I was just curious about that, but man, it's been a lot of fun chat with you. Definitely looking forward to this season, Yanni, Sasso, and beyond, right? Especially March as when things really heat up. So thanks for coming on. We're going to give you the final word to say anything you want to say.
No, yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and go Badgers.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Yep, you too.
All right, good luck. All right, Kyle, another great show, and an exciting wrestler, right? Like one of the things I've taken from this interview that we're just wrapping up is like, yeah, I told my dad I was going to get double underhooks and pin him, and the Big Ten semis, and then he does it, just baller attitude. So
that was wild. Yeah, got it in 20 seconds, and 149 pounds, has 11 returning All-Americans, and that doesn't include Shane Van Ness and some of the other good wrestlers coming into the fold. So it's going to be a wild weight class, and he's part of that.
Awesome. 11 returning All-American. Some guys are going to get left out, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We're out of here. For Kyle Klingman, I'm Mark Bader. We'll be back tomorrow with Kenny Monday. We'll see you guys. Thanks.